Greetings, welcome back to Ministry Monday. This is Carlton Coon. I want to change gears a little bit in my free offering this week. Every single person who shares this Ministry Monday video will receive my ebook, The How and Why of New Convert Care, absolutely free. Now, of course, we're going to need your email address to deliver this, and it will be one of my virtual assistants who will be reaching out for that from you. This particular book has been one of my best sellers. It addresses the nuts and bolts of how we will deal with new converts and how we're going to try to make disciples. And it not only talks about how it is to be done, it also describes why we are doing that particular thing. And what we do through the years may change, but why we do it seldom changes. So figuring out the why is extremely important. And this particular book has provided a change of direction for a number of pastors and churches, not just in North America, but all over the world. Last Monday, you may recall, I entered a new aspect of the concept of shepherding the flock of God. You may recall that I talked a little bit about effective leadership being the result of continuity. And today the focus is going to be on what leadership is. And in truth, there is seldom anything that is more often misunderstood than leadership. The verb lead is easy to say, but the actions of leadership are difficult. And I think in many instances, they're also difficult to understand because, and I think Oswald Sanders had it exactly right. He made the statement in his book, Spiritual Leadership, that leadership is influence. Well, if that's correct, I'm going to do my best to use the word influence more than lead, because I think anytime we use the word lead, we invoke the idea of having an office or having a position. And we need to do all we can to restrain the idea that leadership and influence connected to having a position. Through the years, I pastored local church position holders who simply were not leaders. They were not bad people at all, but they simply were not change agents. And leaders are change agents. They are change agents in the ministry they're involved, and they're change agents in the lives of the people who they lead. On the other hand, I've pastored people who had no title, but through doing the right things, they impacted the future rather than maintaining the past. They were influencers toward tomorrow. And so leaders are influencers. Ezekiel 34 is very clear that God wants his flock to be led. He wants his church, his people, to be under the guidance of someone who will be a good influence. There are four oft overlooked principles in leadership. It's contained within four words. It's who, what, where, and there. Now, I wish that the there could have fit in with a W. It would have a little better iteration, but it just didn't fit. Here are the things we're dealing with. Who are we to influence? What are the behaviors that we want to influence them toward? Thirdly, where are we to lead people? What is the direction? And fourth, how do we know when we get there? When have we been effective? What does success look like? An example, tonight our church has its monthly family prayer. A successful focus on prayer from me would mean that more people are present for prayer and that those present are more effective as prayers than what they have been in the past. That is a behavior that I want to influence. Now, material on leadership is in abundance. It fills entire libraries. My observations in my book, The Science of Shepherding, only lightly touch on this subject of leadership. In a lot of ways, it's much easier to see when there has been a breakdown in influence. A good man who served in North American missions evangelism said, "We went through an era in our ministry of evangelizing reservations using tent revivals, and we had a lot of people converted, but then the evangelists left and we had no qualified people to lead the rest of the congregation." And his lament was that after years of effort, we have very little to show for what we attempted to accomplish. The problem was, of course, as he denoted, that they left the group without a leader. Leaders have a vision to change the lives of those that they lead, and they have a vision to change the corporate body of whatever it is that they're involved in leading. So they provoke you to thought. Number one, who are you trying to influence? Secondly, what are the behaviors that you want to influence them to do? Thirdly, where are we trying to lead this group of people toward? And fourth, how do you know when you get there? For the sake of time, I'm not going to go into that deep. I'll start with that next time. And I look forward to again being with you for Ministry Monday. And again, remember to share, and we'll be sure to send you that ebook of the How and Why of New Convert Care. God bless. Have a great week.